Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you are watching this, to 702, 703, 704, 804, and whoever else is watching this. Today is Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. I know most of you have lost track of what day it is. Today is not an A day or B day, and today our objective is scholars will waken their brain cells from slumber using fun math. So, those of you in my class, you know it's Tuesday, so you know what that means.
So you know what that means? It's Taco Tuesday!
Okay, but besides the fact that it's Taco Tuesday, and I hope that you guys are enjoying your tacos, I know I will definitely be having some delicious tacos today. It is also Trending Tuesday. So, Trending Tuesday, we are going to be talking about the toilet paper crisis today. About how much toilet paper do you actually need? I'm sure most of you have seen these pictures online of people going crazy for toilet paper, even getting in fights like these women in Australia. It is crazy out there. Stay safe, y'all. Oh, and I'm sure that some of you are missing the meme wall, so here I have included some of my favorite toilet paper memes. So, before we start, I want you guys to think about this mathematically. Just like any problem, we want to think about what do we need to do, what do we need to know, what questions do we need to ask, what information do we need before we can solve this problem. So those of you in my class especially, please pause the video and take some time to think about what kind of questions we need to consider first. All right, so we're back. I'm assuming you paused, and I'm sure all of my scholars were super scholarly and spent several minutes thinking about this and comparing notes with their friends and family, but you probably didn't. But anyways, we're moving ahead. Let's go. First thing we want to consider, what is the rate of toilet paper usage? We're talking about units of toilet paper used per unit of time. Basically, you have to think about how many times do we go to the bathroom for number 1 and number 2. We also want to think about how much toilet paper is used per visit. And again, we're thinking about for number 1 and for number 2. You also might want to think about differences in gender, age, size, preferences. Maybe you prefer to use a lot more, maybe you prefer to use a lot less. Maybe if you are larger, you may use more. I have no scientific evidence for that, so I'm just making that up. But if you are a man, you may use less. If you are a woman, you may use more. I don't know. You also want to think about how long will we need this toilet paper for, how much toilet paper is in each pack, how much toilet paper is in each roll, how many rolls are in each pack, and then are we talking single, double, triple ply, etc. Now, if you want to do this for yourself, I would suggest you can use this as a guideline. Again, we cannot cover all of our bases, but we want to do our best. Here's an alternate approach if you want to have some fun. Calculate the amount of paper needed based on a physical amount of fecal matter that is produced, and also, of course, you want to account for urinary production as well. You can look that up. I have included a link to a live science article here. So we're going to look at 3 different scenarios today. Our extra credit scholars who use generous amounts of TP and go a lot. Number 2, our bare bones. Can you round my 69% to a C? No, you can. No, I cannot. You have to earn that C. And number 3, our average Joes, a good middle ground. Not too much, not too little. So, let's talk about the data. So, it was hard to find an average amount for going to the bathroom for number 1. The best I could find was this recommendation from this website that the average person goes, number 1, between 4 and 10 times per day. For number 2, I found this one study of 4,775 people that said that about 95% of participants used the bathroom for number 2 between 3 and 21 times per week. So we can safely assume that 3 and 21 is a pretty good range. Now, how much toilet paper is used? Well, I was not able to find any solid data for this, so we are going to use our own estimations. 0 and 10 for number 1 and 5 and 30 for number 2. And we're going to make estimations for 2, 4, and 8 weeks. And what does this look like with different brands of toilet paper? I'm going to show you 3 different brands of toilet paper. So let's start with the extra credit scholars using lots and lots of toilet paper, lots and lots of times. For number 1, 10 times per day means 70 times per week. Number 2, that's 21 times per week. That is the upper limit from our study, so we are using that. Our estimation, our upper limit is 10 and our upper limit is 30 for number 1 and 2 respectively. So altogether, that adds to about 1,330 sheets per week. How long will I need toilet paper for? Well, for 2 weeks, that's 2,660. For 4 weeks, that's 5,320. And for 8 weeks, that's 10,640. If you want to do your own math, just divide these numbers by the amount of toilet paper sheets per pack in whatever pack you choose. I'm not going to go into that. If you would like to do that, feel free to do that. That will tell you how many packs of toilet paper you need. And if you want to do it for a family, you can multiply that by however many people there are in your family. Alright, so I'm going to show you 3 different packs. The first pack is the Charmin Ultra Soft, Irresistibly Soft, Use Less, Extra Value Rolls. I call this the Bougie 2-ply. There's 1,584 sheets in each pack, 132 sheets per roll. There's 12 rolls. We divide that by our total number, we get about 1.2 weeks. So a single extra credit scholar would use this in about 1.2 weeks. A family of 6 extra credit scholars would go through this in about 1.4 days. We divide by 6 and then multiply by 7 to give us 1.4 days. That is not a long time. So you can see why maybe some people are getting so freaked out about the toilet paper if this one pack lasts them 1.4 days. But keep in mind, this is super, super soft. And this is a super, super, super family that goes to the bathroom a lot and uses a lot of toilet paper. Let's go with the middle ground. Field Day 2-ply bath tissue. That is 3,600 sheets per pack. 300 sheets per roll, 12 rolls. That lasts 1 extra credit scholar 2.7 weeks. A family of 6 extra credit scholars, that would last them about 3.15 days. Again, not a whole lot if you're going through your toilet paper like crazy. Crazy. I was going to put an analogy, but I'm going to skip that. Anyways, we're moving on to Scott 12-pack, the classic bougie on a budget pack of toilet paper. 1,000 sheets per roll, 12 rolls. That is 12,000 sheets. Beautiful. 12,000 divided by 1,330. That lasts a single extra credit scholar 9 weeks. Family of 6 extra credit scholars, this will still last 1.5 weeks. So even if you go through toilet paper as an extra credit scholar, this could still last a family of 6 1.5 weeks. So, just as a quick recap, these are the 3 packs of toilet paper compared. Also, as a linear function, this is what it would look like with y representing the number of sheets used and x being the number of weeks passed. And for those of my scholars who remember, this goes through the origin and has a constant rate of change, so this is a proportional relationship. Extra credit if you got this. Now, let's look at our bare bones. Can you round my 69% to a C? Let's say they go 4 times per day for number 1. That is still pretty generous. That was the lower limit. That is 28 times per week. 3 times per week, that is the lower limit from the study. For the amount of toilet paper used per visit, we're going with 0 sheets per visit for number 1. That is probably very unrealistic, but someone can make it happen. Perhaps you use the shake and bake method after going. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. And number 2, you're using 5 sheets. That, again, is a very small amount of paper, but again, people get it done. So I'm not judging. Here we go. 0 sheets and 5 sheets. That gives us 15 sheets per week. Wow. 30 sheets for 2 weeks, 60 sheets for 4 weeks, and 120 sheets for 8 weeks. These bare bones are really like Bear Grylls. Bare necessities. All right, talking of bears, let's get to some Charmin. Or Charmin, I don't remember how it's called. Our Bougie 2-ply, that gives us 2.03 years for a single bare bones. Wow, bare bone, living large with the Charmin, and still 2 years. What about a family of 6 bare bones? Well, a family of 6 bare bones, that will last them 4 months. Not quite as much as a single, but 4 months for 1 pack of toilet paper, and might I add, some very, very soft and comfortable toilet paper. That is not bad. Let's go with our middle ground. 2-ply bath tissue from Field Day. That is 4.6 years for a single bare bone. Family of 6 bare bones. That gives us 10 months with a single pack of toilet paper. That is definitely long enough to last you, well, knock on wood, that is long enough to last this whole corona crisis for a family of bare bones. Now, we get to the toilet paper of all toilet paper. A single bare bone could last 15.4 years with one pack of lovely, beautiful, paper thin Scott brand 12-pack toilet paper. And even a family of 6 bare bones could last 2.6 years with a single pack of toilet paper if they are using toilet paper as if it was $1,000 bills. Here we go. Recap of our bare bones. Look at these bare bones. If everyone was a bare bone, we would have so much more toilet paper and so many more trees in the world. As a linear function, this is what it looks like. Maybe it looks the same, but when you look at the axes, you can see that this is increasing at a very slow rate for paper per weeks. All right, let's get to our average Joes. Most people are not on these two extremes, so let's look at what an average person might look like. I'm just going to go with 7 times per day. That is halfway between 4 and 10, and 12 times, that is halfway between 3 and 21. So that gives us, well, I'm going to estimate 5 sheets per visit for number 1 and 12 sheets per visit for number 2. That is my own estimation, no math behind that. So that gives us 389 sheets per week, 778 for 2 weeks, 1,556 for 4, and 3,112 for 8 weeks. Let's look at our Charmin. That gives us 4 weeks for an average Joe, a single average Joe on Charmin. A family of 6 average Joes, that is about 0.68 weeks, and we multiply that by 7 to give us the days. That's about 4 3/4 days. So that is not a lot with this Charmin Ultra Soft. Okay, if you're living large, you won't be lasting that long with this. Well, let's go with our middle ground. This could last a single average Joe about 9.25 weeks. And a family of 6 average Joes, that would be 1.5 weeks. Not too bad. If you buy 4 packs of these, you're good for 6 weeks. For a whole family of 6. And then our classic, incredible, beautiful, and so economically sound Scott brand toilet paper. A single average Joe could go almost 8 months with this. And this is just on moderate usage. This is no bare bones, this is average Joe. And a family of 6 average Joes could go over 5 weeks with this. If you want to last the corona crisis, this is probably good enough. You could probably buy 2 just to be safe, and you should be good. Knock on wood again. Please don't jinx me. As a quick recap, here is our average Joe usage. And as a linear function, again, we see a proportional relationship. The axes are definitely different, and let's compare them all on one graph. Here we can see that they are all proportional relationships. They all increase at a constant rate, and they all have positive slopes. However, the green, the extra credit scholars, has a much, much steeper slope than both the blue, which is the average Joe, and the red, which is the bare bones. Average Joe has a much steeper slope than bare bones, and you can see bare bones almost looks flat. Bare bones are incredible, aren't they? We should all strive to be like bare bones. So, another thought experiment. How many sheets would each of these imaginary people use in 100 years? Well, let's look at the bare bones. 52 weeks in a year times 100 times 52 is 78,000 sheets in 100 years. In terms of Scott's 12-pack, that is 6.5 packs for 100 years. You could buy 7 packs and still have half a pack for whatever you wanted to do with it and last 100 years. For an average Joe, that would be 2,022,800 sheets in 100 years. In terms of Field Day 2-ply, that is 562 packs. Okay, not too bad for 100 years. And for our extra credit scholar, that is 6,916,000 sheets in 100 years. This one single extra credit scholar would need 4,366 packs of Charmin Ultra Soft packs to last 100 years. Think about that. That's a lot of toilet paper. bonus. So, as I was doing research, I found this website about this person doing some research on toilet paper, and I found a statistics that they put up, and I wanted to discuss with my 7th graders especially, and 8th graders you may remember, talking about samples and populations. So let's talk about it. A survey administered to a sample population of 106 people by Steve Silverman, a science teacher in Albany, shows the following wiping statistics. 44% wipe from front to back from behind their backs. 60% look at the paper after they wipe. 50% say they've wiped with leaves, as in the dead things that come off of trees. Or maybe they're alive still, I don't know. 8% have wiped with their hands, and 2% have wiped with money. Wow. That is what I aspire to do. Anyways, not with my teacher salary. But anyways, let's talk about this. Is this a good sample? Are these valid conclusions? Well, first of all, is it large enough? 106 people? Depends. It depends on what our population is. We're not given specifically what his population is claimed to be, so we cannot necessarily say. Is it random? Well, we do not know. We're not given that information. And is it targeted? It is possible it could be targeted. He's a science teacher. Maybe he's doing these at school, targeting teachers or students or whatever. We do not know all that for sure. And are these valid conclusions? Well, it depends on what he is concluding. Is he concluding this is for everyone? We don't know. So all I am saying is you need to think about these things. You cannot look at these and conclude that this is true for all people, because this is probably not representative for all people. Is this true for the people at his school or the people he interviewed? Then yes. So take these statistics with a grain of salt. I am pretty sure that 50% have not wiped with leaves, but in his sample, 50% did. So that's that. What do we learn? Toilet paper can go a long way if you're really careful about it. There's no need to stock up on that toilet paper unless you're a selfish and spoiled jerk who uses Charmin like it grows on trees. The reason we are in this crisis is because of those extra credit scholars, or people who live like they are extra credit scholars. You do not need to be an extra credit scholar when it comes to toilet paper. Be an extra credit scholar when it comes to school and life, not toilet paper. And lastly, and most importantly, math can be useless but useful at the same time. I think this was very useless but useful at the same time. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are not going completely crazy and letting your mind turn to mush at home. Please take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Be very sanitary. Clean and wash your hands for 20 seconds at least, and do not use all of the toilet paper. But please, don't be quite like a bare bone, be like an almost bare bone, or an average Joe. Just don't be an extra credit scholar when it comes to toilet paper. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you made it all the way. This is Mr. Chen, and hopefully I will see you in a few weeks. Who knows? But if not, take care.